This was a genuine counter proposal. We did it some time ago, but this was actually what invented the term classic planning and started the ball rolling for the book, which without which we would not be here now. So allow me to share this with you. We have in Washington, D.C., a river, and it's a muddy river, and it's surrounded by a no man's land, and we are converting it into this according to our possible, probable, something future. I forget which one it was, but here it comes. Washington is heir to the humanistic tradition. This is the view down Wisconsin Avenue in Georgetown towards the Potomac. This is what it actually looked like. And this is the L'Enfant plan, the first round of planning. And that's what L'Enfant saw right over here in this area here when he was drawing his plan. I want to call your attention to the fact that this is a typical classic plan. It has the code on the periphery. This is all the code he needed in order to create Washington, D.C. Second round of planning came in 1901, 1903 with the Macmillan Commission. Burnham, McKim, Olmsted Jr., and St. Gaudens, they were the committee that designed this. The National Mall, which they drew over here, looked like that. This is the Capitol. You can just see it here. It was an overgrown romantic garden. They turned it into something that was both urbane and fitting of the context of the capital of a very large country. DC as we know it, love it and think of it, is composed of these monumental structures. There's a great presence of water in the city, and the urban fabric, 2-3 stories, mostly brick, with trees. And this is the progress we've seen in the past years. And really, I live around here somewhere, and I got to see this cancerous kind of stuff going through the city. It was really amazing. So we got together a group of people at the Commission of Fine Arts. Here's Catesby Lee. I see him back here. And a whole host of people that some of them might actually be here right now. And we went, we kind of walked the city and we toured it. We drove through it, the original folks that worked on this. And the understanding of this river, this Anacostia River, happened when I was actually looking at the map upside down, and I didn't realize what this was, just for a moment. And then they turned around. Oh, that's the Anacostia River, and you realize it literally cuts the city into two parts. And at the time, the Anacostia neighborhood was not the best neighborhood, and there's all kinds of stuff like this, unused parks and overgrown with stuff that was going to go out. That's where the ball field is now. And there is in DC a sense of urban life, both in the large things like the Union Station, in some of the parks, Meridian Park, and some of the other. This is the George Washington Parkway that were installed by the Macmillan Commission. Burnham. This is a Burnham space. We understood the classic planning always worked, and that's how the book emerged, what, 15 years later? But this was still the start, so I'm sharing this with you. We took the 100-year perspective. We understood that the federal city was formed around the persona of George Washington based on humanistic values. The L'Enfant plan is the DNA, and the Macmillan Commission is the interpretation of our plan. It gives us a basis for interpretation, and then design would be judged on firmness, commodity, and delight. And this is what we did. We took the map as is, and the first thing we did was we took out the freeways and emptied out. This is all the white stuff is government land. Then we rearranged the river so that hydrologically it would work. And we narrowed it to the width of the Seine, which is 500 feet. You will cross the Seine easily twice a day, less easily the Thames, which is 2.5 times as wide. And then we continued the L'Enfant plan through it. That's really all we did. And then we threw bridges, 17 bridges, one every quarter mile, just like in Paris, which makes this, it pedestrianizes it. And then filled in the plan a little bit. Some of my colleagues are far better designers than I am, and really worked on making the fabric feel like L'Enfant had done it. And this is what it would look like. So, we compared the rivers to understand, and we really came from the Macmillan commissions. This is McKim and Burnham's writing that of what the river quays in DC would do for the city. It's an urban way to meet a river, a waterfront. And this is definitely the beginning of the understanding of the notion of holistic urbanism, like we are actually talking about it, with these various goals and aspirations. And it's not a myth. It was done, and it was done several times over by now. And it has all these great attributes on a technical level, with 1,000-year floods and working within the landscape environment and so on. Give me a 1-minute warning, please, if I need one. And sketches of what it might look like. This is the naval basin opposite where this is where NCIS is, Navy Yard. And the idea, the great lesson from Paris, the great lesson in classic infrastructure. And by the way, classical knowledge bases are not just the orders and a little bit of urbanism. This whole business of how to meet water. Think of Lisbon.
1-minute warning.
Thank you. Think of Lisbon, think of Paris, think of Budapest to a certain degree, other places that have marvelous hardscape meeting of water, urban meeting of water. So we created here 3 options. Everything comes in 3 sizes: small, medium, and large promenades on the top of infrastructure, just like in Paris. So you have a lower key for daily life, and then the flooding can go up to here. This will take a 1,000-year flood. Meanwhile, when you're building this, you build it right in the first place, then you can use it like in Paris for freeways and trains and what have you, and even turn part of it into a beach in the summer. You have all those options. So within this, you have a great deal of flexibility. Build new bridges as they ought to be, with views towards islands that we proposed, and so on and so forth, and in keeping with the beautiful bridges that already exist in DC. Even to the degree and the point of starting here a dovetailing the socioeconomic notion of skilled labor, training them to work on this, and give people lots and so on and so forth, without going into any great detail. I'm almost done. So this is one of the edges, U.S. Navy Museum, which we proposed at the time. This is actually Washington Channel, which is just outside the mouth of the Potomac. But the whole notion of creating, and this has been built, but everything modernist is going to come down in the next 50, 100 years of its own weight, except for things that will be maintained at great cost. This is actually creates a podium for the Capitol as seen from the river. Thank you very, very much. Everybody who has a copy of my book, write to me. I'll send you a bookplate. Contact us here. Thank you for this. And I have the intermission officially starts now. And I have I'd like to read to you Professor Robert Adams' request for contributions, call for papers to the publication contracted with Cambridge Scholars Publishing, Architecture of the People. Do I have permission to do that, Mr. Bolt?
Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
Architecture and the People. This is a call for papers for a book that Robert Adam is going to edit, and I urge you all to consider making contributions to it. The discussion on how architecture relates to the everyday life and aspirations of people is going to be presented in the context of a widely perceived disjunction between what architects design and what people want. With the rise of popular activism in the built environment and wider political mistrust of elites, this is a subject of particular contemporary relevance. Contributions must be original and informative. The writing style should be non-academic and directed towards the intelligent and interested general reader, as well as professionals. It will be an academic and professional resource. General readers would predominantly come from groups or individuals who have an interest in the mechanisms of change in their built surroundings and wish to influence them. Estimated length, 60,000 words plus text and references. That's hefty. Papers, approximately 15. The format is CSP standard A5. Provisional structure, introduction by the editor, political background, architectural background, planning and urban design, psychology and sociology, resume of public action on built environment, and methods for public action. The papers should be no more than 4,000 words. Integral black and white photographs, diagrams, and charts are encouraged. Send 200-word abstract with information on illustrations and short CV and relevance to subject in the structure listed above. I'm going to put the link in the chat window right now. It'll take me a second. It's playing games with me because it's a live link on the text. And I'm going to click open this Cambridge Scholar thing, a window. It's opening. Here's the link in the text. Thank you very much. We want to see Professor Adam produce this book for all involved with the best of results. Here comes the Cambridge Scholar guest edited collection, Architecture and Built Environment. That's apparently what he's doing. You'll go in there. Good luck, everybody. Thank you so much.